You are very biased. The hosts on this show are very biased, but I get it because you're supported by the fake news ABC.
You're one who's sort of gone mano to mano with Trump. What advice would you have for Madam Vice President?
She'll be there to talk about an economy that works for everyone, about taking us into a wonderful, unified future, and that, as you said, takes us away from all this disruption that he has caused over the years.
Well, let me just, taking us away from the destruction caused by Trump, just so you know, Trump has not been president for the past 4 years. Biden and Harris have been in charge. And all these promises, she's going to fix the economy, she's going to bring down prices. Again, Kamala is the vice president right now. She has had 4 years to bring down prices. So my question is, why doesn't she fix those issues right now?
Elon has just taken the media out of the way, and he has no middleman. He's directly feeding disinformation to the masses.
His conspiracy theories are transparently laughable.
I am scared by Elon Musk. I think that he's spreading misinformation. I think that it's dangerous. And I think we don't have the mechanisms of control in government.
He is now regularly spreading false information about the election, about VP Harris. How concerned should we be of his influence and his potential impact?
Well, Stephanie, I've been listening to you and your activist guests for over 5 minutes now, accusing Elon Musk of spreading misinformation without providing any specific examples or evidence to back those claims. So I would say, right here and right now, you are the ones spreading actual misinformation, but we are on MSNBC, so that is to be expected.
You know, I think the problem is that the GOP needs to convince voters that Trump and Vance
and themselves
are regular guys, and they're not. They are weird, just like they've been called.
Well, Democrats seem to have landed on this word that they think sums up the Republican ticket. Take that.
Whoopi, let me just quickly address this whole Trump and Republicans are weird strategy from Harris's campaign. I agree with it, because Democrats have normalized men wearing dress and using women's restroom. Republicans are against that. So they are weird. Democrats have normalized gender transitioning and chemical castration for children. Republicans oppose that. So Republicans are the weird ones. Democrats have normalized wars. There were 0 wars under Trump. So Trump is weird. Kamala Harris has pronouns in her bio, while Trump doesn't. Trump is weird. Do you see where I'm going with this?
She got another win, big win last night, because Taylor Swift officially declared herself a childless cat lady for Kamala. You know, look,
Do you feel joyful?
you know what? I feel what I always thought I would feel, because she knows what she's doing.
Well, Whoopi, let me just say this. The thing that people should be considering about Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris is that 80% of the songs written by Taylor Swift is about her inability to choose the right guy. But I understand that her endorsement means a lot to you, since both of you are cat ladies.
Right? RFK Jr. Leaving the race, endorsing Donald Trump, bear cubs, brainworms, all of it. Okay, what do you make of it? Because he was an unserious man, too, sadly, because he got a great family legacy, and he could have been a serious guy, but he chose to be an unserious guy. He was never going to be president. He still carried on about how the fact that he might actually still be president of the United States. It's a lot of BS. But what do you make of this whole development?
Well, Ali, Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, and now RFK Jr. endorsing Trump is what happens when the Democratic Party moves further and further to the extremes of its own ideology. And instead of reflecting on their batshit crazy ideas, the Democrats attack these people for leaving them, just as you did with your question, which was asked in a way that made it more of a statement and a character attack on RFK Jr., something that's, of course, expected from the Democrat-run network MSNBC.
Because Donald Trump is doing something that was just brought to my attention this weekend. He's on a podcast tour, like with these some pretty crazy people.
Yeah.
But the reach of these podcasts is massive. They're getting millions of hits. I saw a clip this weekend that a friend showed me. It was 20 million hits. He is hitting them all.
Okay, Sarah, I'm not sure why you would call podcasters like Lex Fridman, Logan Paul, Aiden Ross, all of these people who, by the way, do a much better job on interviewing people than you do, because you are very biased. The hosts on this show are very biased, but I get it because you're supported by the fake news ABC. But I'm not sure why you would call these people crazy for simply having a conversation with Trump. But I understand your frustration, since this show, has millions of dollars in budget, and you still cannot even get a fraction of the views that they are pulling in.
But I'm saying, people were bitching and moaning and saying, it's your fault that the grocery. No, the people we shop with, it's their issue, because they have people they have to give money to. If your prices are high, it's because the people we're shopping with are charging us more money.
Well, Whoopi, I don't even know how to process what you just said. But the fact that you're blaming business owners for high prices when they're simply responding to the inflation caused by the Biden-Harris administration is nothing short of outright dishonesty or a complete lack of understanding of basic economics. And frankly, you're demonstrating both.
Donald Trump is still campaigning on lies about Haitian immigrants eating pets in Ohio. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
Yes.
Say it.
Well, Joy, there are actual reports of that happening, but I'm going to say it. In fact, I made a track for it. Brian, can you put it on?
What they have done to our
Joy?
country by allowing these millions
Sonny?
of people to come into our country,
ready?
and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States.
Now.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the cats.
They're eating the cats.
And it's a shame. 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 And it's a shame. 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 And it's a shame.
But more importantly on this issue, women, I'm 35, I'm thinking about starting a family. Everyone in my friend group is either dealing with struggles to get pregnant, losing babies that they wanted to, or finding a partner and they want to have kids but they haven't found someone, or a number of them just have chosen it's not the right path for them, and that we demonize and shame people on the most personal, private decision.
Well, Alicia, in the examples you just gave, you presented most of those issues as if they're out of your control, but they're not. The risk of miscarriage rises with age. Fertility drops significantly in the late 20s. The eggs go bye-bye, okay? So, of course, your friends struggle to get pregnant. Of course, they lose babies that they wanted when they choose to have children after 30. And naturally, finding a man becomes harder since men consider the factors I just mentioned, and so they look for younger women to have children with. Now, all of this are results of prioritizing your career over having kids at a younger age. And it's not demonizing women to say that. It's just so if you end up with 3 cats, you can reflect on why you ended up with 3 cats.
Listen, we forget that we live in information silos. This is so different than how the media was even 10 years ago, where people largely got their news and their information from legacy media, where there was a level of objectivity and a fact-checking involved. So if you perhaps get, and I'm just saying this for an example, get all your news on Facebook, if you're a Trump supporter online, you very likely won't encounter ever some of the worst things that he has said.
Well, Alicia, I love your confidence, but the media is not objective at all, and this show alone is a living example of that. And to your second point, both sides have their own bubble, of course. And again, I wish you were as right as your confidence implies, but the actual data shows that Democrats are more likely to stay within their own news bubble compared to Republicans. So Trump supporters do actually encounter the worst things that Trump has said. But they also know that the worst things that Trump has said are just out of context clips pushed by the Democrat-run media and people such as yourself.
Trump says if he gets elected, he wants to get the hell out of NATO. I've been able to put together what they call the Quad in the South Pacific in that area to increase. We have a chance to reorder the world in a way that is not Shangri-La, but it is real. Fundamental changes.
I'm sorry, but you cannot even take care of your own country. Open borders, inflation, 2 new wars, all under your watch. And I'm not even sure if you have any idea where you are right now. And you want to reorder the world? I mean, you people destroyed the Middle East. Millions and millions of people, including Americans, died. And your most recent beauty was the shit show you left in Afghanistan. And now the world is closer than it has ever been to World War III. All because you and your friends are trying to reorder the world. So, the people of Earth appreciate your offer. But no thanks. You, NATO, the World Economic Forum, and all of these people should rather reorder these 3 words. Yourself, fuck, go.
I have been the subject of a lot of Donald Trump attacks, including a bunch of anti-Semitic attacks. Donald Trump is failing the basic test we set as parents for our kids. Love thy neighbor. Treat your neighbor with respect. So we know he has failed the test as commander-in-chief, and we know he has failed that basic test we set for our kids as parents.
Okay, so Josh, Trump's daughter, her children, and her husband, they are all Jewish. So your anti-Semite card won't really work here. And by the way, lying is not the kind of example you want to set for your kids. Now, failing the test as commander-in-chief, if 4 years of peace, lower taxes, lower prices, a secure border, and making America great is what failure looks like to you, then I guess passing your test means destroying the country, which is what Biden and Harris did. They passed the hell out of your test.
Because they're saying the Democrats, the left side has to stop the rhetoric. And I think what we need to reframe this is what is rhetoric and what is fact. It is fine for you to say Donald Trump's plan is not a conceptual plan. It's Project 2025. That is not rhetoric. If you say something like Donald Trump started an insurrection, that is not rhetoric. That is just a fact.
Well, wait a minute, Sonny. Trump has explicitly stated that he has nothing to do with Project 2025. Also, he has never been charged with insurrection. So both of the examples you just presented were pure rhetoric and factually incorrect. Yet, you just called them facts. Live on air, further vilifying a man who just faced a second assassination attempt. And for that, not just you, but every single one of you should be ashamed of yourselves.
A small thing. People believe us because we are checked by ABC News here. So we're not giving you fake news. We're giving you the real deal.